Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Drama Club at the Point. Hi, my name is Val Holland, and I am broadcasting to you live from the USA. Can you imagine? So, here in the USA, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and over there in Doncaster, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, we're separated by a few hours. We're also separated by about 3,500 miles and an ocean. So it's quite a lot. But really, we're together just as if we were maybe in the same room. So, what I would really, really love to know is actually who's here? Who's here with me? And you can use the chat. I'll tell you one person who's with me is my mate, Adrian. So, Adrian, can you say hello? Can you say hello through the chat? It'd be really, really lovely to hear from you and hear who else might be here. So my name is Val Holland, and this is the Drama Club. And today we're going to be doing some storytelling. We'll be doing it today and for the next 5 sessions, looking at all different ways to tell stories. It's really wonderful to have you here. I'm going to really need you to kind of use your bodies a little bit. So can I just see you kind of like walking around and moving around? Oh, hello, Sam and John. I see that they're there. That's brilliant. Hello. And I'd love to say hello to more of you. I see there's a few people watching. Don't be shy. Say hello. Okay, so let's have a little moving around. I'm standing up because I can't be sitting down and actually kind of be doing this. So I'd really love you to be as alive as you possibly can. We're going to start with just an idea about how you might be feeling. And we're going to be using something that we call like a freeze frame. Okay, so this is a freeze frame of feelings. So if you were feeling happy, you might freeze like this. Happy. But your happy might look different to my happy, and your happy is okay. So however happy looks to you, that's absolutely fine. Or you might be feeling a little bit nervous. And I have to say, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. This is all very, very exciting and nervous. Or you might be feeling excited. Or you might be feeling tired. Maybe it's just a really, really tiring day. Here in the USA, I am feeling very, very hot. Let me just show you what the temperature is like today. It's absolutely crazy today. So here in Philadelphia, it's 31 degrees. So it's really, really warm. So how are you feeling today? So in 3 seconds, I'm going to give you a countdown. I'd like you to kind of get into the sculpt of exactly how you're feeling right now. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And that's mine. That's my nervous. How are you doing? Can you tell me in the chat? So this is kind of an interactive session, and you can have an awful lot of say in it, or you can just be following along at home and kind of, chilling out and watching what people are doing. And that's absolutely fine. Sorry, sorry. I don't mean to be distracted, but there's this fly running around. It's driving me just a little bit crazy. Just say, hey, stop, stop, stop. This is a little bit of a workout. I'm wondering if you might join me. Can you join me for like swatting the pesky fly away? Hey, over there, over there. Oh, there he goes. Oh, do you see him? Right there. Oh, he's right there. And I'm going to zap him. And he's just going to go away. Okay, I'm going to zap that one. He's going to go away. And zap, and zap, and zap. Great. Got rid of the flies. That's really, really good. So let's think about some of that freeze framing that we were doing just a moment ago. And I'm wondering, because we're just going to kind of be doing some, freeze framing for different things, because this is going to be a little bit warm-up activity for the way that we're going to be telling stories today. Oh, I see that John is over the moon. I'd really love to know what over the moon looks like. Can you imagine what over the moon? Hey, let's do a sculpt of over the moon. Ooh. Oh, and Sam is lethargic. So that's kind of another word for really being maybe a little bit tired. So Sam might be feeling a little bit like this. I think if Sam or John wanted to sort of send a photograph in of how they were feeling, we'd really love to see that. I think you can do that on the chat. I'm not sure. So you guys can let me know. But if we were thinking lethargic and over the moon, woo! That might be a lot of fun. Okay. How about give me your best superhero? And actually, that makes me think, how about your best elephant? That's not a very good elephant. I'm really sorry. Okay, my cat is a lot better. Shall I do my cat? So give me your list, kitty cat. Or maybe you have a dog. Or maybe you have a hamster. So let's have a freeze frame as your pet or your favorite animal. Okay? Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Can you guess what I am? Answers on the chat. I'm a turtle. Just trying to sneak back into my shell. Anyway, it'd be great to hear. Oh, hello, Janet. Hello. It's lovely to hear from you. Janet, can you tell us what your favorite animal is? Can you just kind of put it down there in the chat and see which animal you're being today? Wonderful. So, all right. Yeah. Thank you, Janet. That's great. So we are going to be doing some storytelling. And today, our subject is going to be about storytelling with objects that you have just around the house. But it's going to be not just storytelling, because when we think about telling a story, I don't know about you, but like I kind of think about sort of like sitting down and listening to somebody else, which is great because we learn so much from stories, and stories is kind of like what we are and what we're made of. But if you think about it, this is going to be something that I'm going to ask you to act out at home. Nobody's going to see you. I mean, you're going to see me, but I'm not going to see you, which is really sad because I really wish that we were in the same room and that we actually could be seeing each other and listening to each other. But today is really going to be about storytelling. Oh, look, Janet said right now it's a kitten because she recently got one. Oh, she got a sweet little kitten. Isn't that nice? So that's Janet's lovely little animal. So when we think about storytelling, we might be thinking about being a kitten, or maybe being a camel, or maybe being a dog or an elephant, or maybe being the Eiffel Tower. I mean, that's the great thing, is that we can be absolutely anything. And what we're going to do in these sessions is we're going to actually try and become those things in both the freeze frames that we did already, and actually also in kind of the acting as well. So we're not just going to be storytelling, we're going to be story walking. So let's have you walk. How are you walking today? How's that? I'm walking very slowly because it's a very, very hot day. It's a very, very hot climate. I mean, it's, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's already, in the 30s, right? It's a bit crazy. So I have to kind of conserve my energy a little bit. Okay. Or we might be story smelling. Oh, can you smell that? There's a lot of nice smells here. There's lavender and there's honeysuckle, and the United States has very different flowers. So I'm smelling different things than you might be smelling there. So it's really nice. I really want you to kind of think about what you're smelling. What are you smelling now? And pop it in the chat. Or how about, oh, what's that sound? What do you hear? Yeah, listening. Really listening hard is really, really big part of storytelling. Really big part of storytelling. So I'd love for you to kind of like really pay attention to kind of what you're hearing. Ooh, tasting. We don't think about taste very much in drama. It's sometimes hard to do, but I'm going to taste this water. And it is so cold. It's so nice. It's so refreshing. So sometimes we'll be thinking about actually, how are things being, what does the Eiffel Tower taste? I wonder, okay? Touching. This one's hard right now, isn't it? Because we're not getting a lot of touching right now. With everything that's going on in the world, touching's a really tough one. It's a really hard one. So you can touch the people in your house, in your household, and you can touch your kitten or your camel, or your pet elephant, or your pet turtle. But in terms of touching other people and kind of being around other people, that's just not something that's happening at the moment, is it? But we can touch in our imaginations, and we can remember things. We can remember the way they are, and we can look forward to the time when we'll be able to touch again in the same way that we used to. And finally, seeing. What are you seeing? So I'm going to ask you now to look around the room that you're in, and find something. find something that you would like to use for your storytelling adventure. Okay? I have prepared something already. And what I found is this broom. I love this broom because this broom actually just, I mean, it just it just sweeps up so much. It's so big. It's like this really, really big, substantial broom. And it's a very ordinary object. So I'm wondering what objects do you have? Sam, you said reggae in the park. I'm not really quite sure what that means, but yeah, okay. You want to do some reggae in the park? That's great, you know? I mean, we will hopefully get some music on here at some point. That would be really, really nice. But right now, I'd like you to think about the ordinary object that you have. And if you're holding on to it, like I'm holding on to it, I'd like you to think about who is this person holding on to it? So who am I in this story? Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Oh, look, Sam's got Frisbee. Yeah, okay, great. So you're Frisbee. So it's kind of thinking about, oh, that's what you can hear. You can hear a Frisbee. Well, perhaps you can use the Frisbee as your imaginary object. And you can think about who might be throwing that Frisbee in the park. Hopefully they're not throwing it in the house. That could be quite destructive. So thinking about this broom, and I'm thinking about who might be holding this broom. And I'm imagining that it's a servant. So how might a servant, a long time ago, holding onto a broom, how might this servant stand? So I'm going to use that freeze frame all over again. Look at me. I'm a servant. I feel so very tired. I'm so tired that I'm leaning on my broom. But I'm also trying to sweep at the same time. Because what I'm really worried about is I'm really worried about the master and mistress coming home. I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm really hoping that they don't come home yet, because I haven't finished my chores, because I'm so tired. So I'm just going to do the sculpt again, and as you can see, in my freeze frame, I'm a very tired servant, and my back is hunched. Okay? How does your character stand? Is your character tall, proud, happy, confident? Or might your character be like my servant, hunched, tired, scared, worried? These are all sorts of ways, and the way that we feel often becomes noticeable to other people from the way that we stand, the way that we speak, the expression on our faces. So we are going to be doing this storytelling with our entire bodies. So let's just go back to my servant one last time, just for this sculpt, this freeze frame here. But you know, it's not the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story was perhaps some time ago, and it was a different freeze frame. Okay? And it's me as the servant a long time ago, and I'm going to show you what my servant looked like before my servant got tired and was working. This is my dreamer servant. This is my servant dreaming. Thinking of what I might do with my life, where I might go with my life. And so I wonder, what happened for the servant to go from to, and that's part of the story. That's the beginning of the story. What do you know about the story? What do you think can happen to make somebody going from being a dreamer to being somebody who doesn't feel so great? And that's really what I'm wondering about. So I'm thinking, actually, this dreamer went out into the world, and this dreamer said, hey, do you know what I want to do? I want to plant flowers. I want to be a gardener. I want to go out into the world and I want to smell beautiful smells. I want to smell lavender and I want to smell rosemary and I want to smell thyme and I want honeysuckle in the summer and jasmine at night. And these are the things that I want to do. And so I decided to go out into the world. And what I did is I bought this trusty broom. And this broom, what a wonderful broom it is. It sweeps away so much. And at night, I would sweep away as I went looking for work as a gardener. I wanted to find out, what could I possibly learn all about the plants and the flowers? And I came to this house and I met these really, really lovely people. And they said, actually, what we'd really like you to do is we'd really like you to help us clean our house, if that's okay. Could you help us do that? And I said, you know what, I can do that. I can do that. And you have this really, really big, lovely, lovely garden. And I'd really love to go and, I'd love to, at some point, move out into the garden and see what I can do. And they went, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. But you know what? In the beginning, what we would really want you to do is we really need your help cleaning the house because we work very, very hard. And I said, okay, that's fine. And so what happens is that the days passed and the weeks passed. And here I am. Months have passed. Actually, even years have passed. And as the years have passed, I've just begun to lean harder and harder on my broom. And I've forgotten that there's a garden out there somewhere. Somewhere there's a garden that needs me and that I want to be part of. So that's the story of the servant between the first picture, which was, and the second picture, which was. And now there's a third picture. There's a third picture that we really, really would love to envision a new future for this person. We won't call this person a servant. We'll call this person a gardener. And there's a brand new way of working for the gardener. And so the broom's actually only part of the story, but the broom's different. So now we have a different picture. And our picture's like this. And you can see, I am the gardener. I am no longer a servant. I work in this beautiful garden. And I smell these beautiful flowers. And I see them. I see their colors and I see their shapes. And I watch the seasons go. And I garden. I can garden all year. So it's really, really important to tend to my garden. Really, really important. And I really love my work. So I wonder, what happened from this poor servant, to becoming the gardener? And that's the other part of the story. So when we last saw the servant, like this, waiting for the master and mistress to come home, they did come home. They did come home, and the servant felt a little bit upset because the servant hadn't finished all the chores and all the tasks. And the master and mistress looked at the servant and they said, well, what have you been doing with all your time? And the servant said, I'm so tired. And I realized that I came here with a dream. I came here with a dream of working in your garden. And I forgot my dream. And the master and mistress thought, wow, we forgot about that. We forgot about your dream. We didn't remember, and we thought you were actually quite happy cleaning the house. We thought maybe that was all right for you. And then I think they felt bad. And so they said to the servant, would you like to actually go into the garden and see what you can smell? See what you can see and what you hear, and think about what you want to do. Because we're not wicked people. We brought you into our home and into our family because we wanted you to have a home here. So we would really, really like that. And, in terms of cleaning the house, we can find somebody else who wants to clean, because that's really good work, and maybe that would really suit somebody else. So the servant went out, brought the broom, and thought, okay, the garden is a right mess. It's an absolute tip. It really is out here. I got to do something about it. And every day, that servant went more from being less of a servant and more of a gardener. Until one day, and it might have just been a few weeks later, the gardener stood there and surveyed all that she had done. And she smelled all the beautiful scents of a garden, including that freshly cut grass. And she looked at the beautiful flowers and the buds and the blooms. And she could almost taste the sort of the rosemary and the mint, the fresh mint from the garden. She could actually taste that. That was delicious. She could hear the birds, because the birds had returned because the flowers were being cultivated. And so she was able to step into a completely new world and a completely new reality. She turned her dream into a reality. And if that isn't the biggest adventure I ever heard, I don't know what is. So, that's a story that I just made up now. And it had 3 pictures. We started with picture number 2, which was this. And then we went to picture number 1, which was this. And we finished with picture number 3, which was this. And it's kind of like an easy way of creating a story, of creating a structure. So you have the beginning, and you have the middle, and you have the end. So I'm wondering, what stories are kind of brewing for you around objects? Now, I told something that was kind of like, almost like a fairy tale a long time ago, but I have another object here that I think a lot of people might be familiar with, and it is a remote control. So I bet a lot of people are kind of used to sort of pointing and looking and using this remote control to do all sorts of things. When a very long time ago, we used to actually get up and we used to have to change the channel on the television set. I know you won't remember that. So, hey, look, there's people who are here. Sophie, you're here. You can't work out how to comment, but you're loving it. That's fantastic. So really, really great to welcome you, Sophie, and anybody else that's with you. I know that Sophie's a super mom whose kids have won awards for being online learners. So I'm hoping that at some point, Sophie can just maybe give me some online tips and about some of that online learning that she does ever so well. And I bet Sophie knows how to use a remote control really, really well. So I am wondering about this remote control. What if this was a magic remote control? And how about this? How about if this was a magic remote control and we could do anything with it? We could sort of like point at something, or we could actually press some numbers in and something would happen. What would happen for you? What kind of magic would happen? I'll tell you what, for me, if I was actually just to put in some numbers, I think that some of the people who are way across the ocean and across all of those thousands of miles, those people that I love, they would be here. And I would be able to do that just by pressing a few buttons. That's kind of what I would do. Oh, look, Fiona, hello, you're here too. Fiona's a wonderful, wonderful puppeteer and visual artist. So, Fiona, what I'm wondering about is what magic would you make happen with your magic remote? What magic? What would you want to do? What would you want to create? I'd love to hear about it on the chat. Wondering about Sam and John. Where are you guys? Have you left me? That's very, very sad. Hey, Adrian, do feel free to kind of say hello and to contribute as well. So Adrian's behind kind of making the magic happen and making all this work. But I would love to know, would Adrian, what magic he would conjure up if he had a magic remote as well. And you can use absolutely anything. I've got some, let's see, I've got some rings here. I've got a safety pin. All of these things you can use to create some kind of story. And I hope that you've found that that 3-picture story might be a really helpful way of creating your own stories. And you know, here at Darts, we really want to hear your stories. So if you want to kind of write to us, when we get on to our next session, we would really, really love to hear about it. We'd love to hear about the stories that you're writing, and maybe we can read them out. So perhaps our storytelling will be more of your stories and less of mine. So we are going to be, oh, look, Sam said that his remote allows them to shower wherever they want. Oh, and Adrian says, could every TV channel be a different world? Yeah. Oh boy. And apparently it's a sweltering day in North London where Sam is. And so he really, really needs a shower. Well, let me tell you something. I'm really glad, Sam, that our sense of smell is not activated where you are. I mean, we can only imagine what it smells like. And I'm kind of glad that maybe there's 3,500 miles between me and you. So that'd be all right. So what I'd like you to think about is actually what stories can you create using just objects, a pen, a glass, ring, absolutely anything you have around you, okay? And what stories can you tell? What stories can we act out? How can you use your bodies? Would love to see your photographs. And if you wanted to send a video in, I think that we could accommodate that too. So we're going to be closing this session down now. And we are going to be meeting again on Monday. So I know today was Wednesday. That's because in kind of like the world of Facebook Live, technically not everything goes well. So anyway, we are going to be meeting regularly on Mondays, and that's Mondays at 3 o'clock in Doncaster and in the UK. And that's going to be 10 o'clock in the morning for me here in Philadelphia. Okay, so if you tune in again, we look forward to seeing you on Monday, just 5 days away, and filled with stories, ready to tell more, ready to think about more, ready to listen more, ready to smell and to taste and to touch. So I look forward to seeing you next Monday, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Okay, bye-bye now. I'm off to the sunshine now. See you guys later.